Welcome to Neon Primer Go-to-Market, where Vega and Axon break down go-to-market strategy for founders who are done guessing. New episode every week.
Imagine opening your business bank account, right?
Yeah.
And you just watch $228 disappear every single time your phone rings.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's rough.
Right. And we're not talking about a guaranteed signed contract here, not even like a qualified appointment where you get to sit down and pitch. Just a simple, hello.
Just for a click.
Exactly. In the U.S. roofing industry right now, that is the brutal verified reality of a single Google search ad click.
It's staggering.
And yet, if you ask almost anyone how to grow a local service business, the default advice is always the same. It's this universal assumption. You just need more leads.
Just get the phone to ring.
Yeah, get the phone to ring more often, and your business will, naturally get bigger and more profitable. But today on our deep dive, we are taking a massive, incredibly data-rich strategy report on go-to-market tactics for U.S. roofing contractors. And we're going to reverse engineer it into a repeatable growth model for you.
It's a gold mine of a report, honestly.
It really is. Our mission here is to shortcut your path to being a well-informed industry leader. And the very first thing we have to do, the absolute first thing, is completely unlearn that more leads myth.
Yeah, the report targets that myth really aggressively because, well, it is fundamentally destructive to a growing business.
It sounds so counterintuitive though, right?
Yeah.
On paper, more leads should equal more revenue.
You'd think so. But the source material outlines how buying all this expensive visibility without having a hyper-optimized operational foundation underneath it, it actually accelerates a company's failure.
Wow, accelerates failure.
Exactly. The core finding here is that the most effective growth strategy in the space it's not a lead generation strategy at all. It's a dual motion system.
A dual motion system. Okay,
Yeah.
let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because trying to scale a business by just pouring money into raw leads, it's like forcing a high-pressure fire hose through a cheap plastic garden hose nozzle.
That's a great way to picture it.
You aren't actually getting more water to the garden. You're just, blowing the pressure valves, bursting the pipes, making a muddy mess.
Destroying the plumbing entirely.
Right. If your internal operations, your trust factors, and your sales systems can't handle the sheer volume and the cost of those leads, the pressure of that expensive marketing will actually fracture your business from the inside out.
It'll break you.
Yeah.
And to build those pipes correctly, you first have to realize you aren't pumping water to just one destination.
Right.
You're dealing with two entirely distinct markets here, and they have completely different psychological triggers.
So we're talking residential versus commercial.
Exactly. Let's look at the residential reality first. So the source data points out that the median age of an owner-occupied home in the U.S. is currently 42 years old.
42 years old.
Yeah. From a structural perspective, that means a massive share of the national housing stock is sitting right in the middle of major repair, replacement, or storm resilience windows.
Add to that the fact that roof-related damage accounts for, what was the stat, like 70 to 90% of all insured residential catastrophic losses.
Yep, 70 to 90%. So it's a market completely driven by unpredictable weather, really high urgency, and deep emotion.
And when water is actively coming through a family's living room ceiling, the homeowner isn't calmly evaluating a 5-year capital expenditure plan over a cup of coffee.
No, they're panicking.
Right, they are panicking. It's a high-stress, highly infrequent purchase. The report makes it super clear that winning this residential market hinges entirely on the mechanics of speed and trust.
But then you look at the commercial reality and the mechanics just flip completely.
Completely different beasts.
Right. The report highlights 5.9 million commercial buildings in the U.S., and they have a median construction year of 1981.
So they're getting up there too.
They are. These buildings are entering their second or third major roofing life cycles. But the people managing them, they aren't panicking homeowners.
No, they're facility teams, property managers.
Exactly corporate owners. And they behave exactly like corporate procurement departments. They don't care about the emotional safety of the building. They care about process, certainty, and risk control.
So they're looking for, airtight service level agreements?
SLAs, yeah. Asset management, software integration, preventative maintenance schedules that protect their depreciation models, all of that.
But look, let me play devil's advocate here. If my marketing is finally firing on all cylinders and I have a really hungry sales team that knows how to close deals, my first instinct is going to be to use that same team to hunt both of these markets simultaneously.
Oh, sure. That's everyone's first instinct.
Right. If these two markets are so fundamentally different, Isn't it dangerous for a growing local contractor to try and do both at the same time, using the same sales team? Like, why pay for two different divisions when I have guys who can talk to a homeowner on Tuesday and a warehouse manager on Wednesday?
Well, the source explicitly warns against that exact instinct. They label it a classic operational trap. Yeah, you cannot run a commercial facility manager through a residential sales pipeline without losing the deal. The buying cycles are fundamentally incompatible.
How so? Like, timing-wise?
Mostly timing and process, yeah. A homeowner in a panic might decide to sign a contract in 3 days. A commercial property manager, on the other hand, they might need to take your bid to a regional board, have their legal team review your safety compliance records,
Oh, wow.
verify your specific manufacturer credentials, and then slot your project into a corporate budget cycle that doesn't unlock for another 6 months.
Like a totally different timeline.
Completely. If your residential closer walks into a commercial facility and tries to use a, high pressure single visit closing technique, they are going to get thrown out of the room.
Right. They'd just be laughed out.
Exactly. Commercial deals require entirely separate estimators and account reps who actually understand long-term asset management.
So treating them as two distinct operational beasts is entirely non-negotiable.
Absolutely non-negotiable.
Since residential is the fast cash flow engine of the business, let's look at the exact systems required to capture that emotional buyer. Because the data on response times in this report is genuinely staggering.
It really is. The report defines this as the speed mandate. So according to Job Nimbus benchmark data cited in the source, top-rated roofing contractors respond to new inbound leads in under 30 minutes.
Under 30 minutes.
Yeah. And if that lead comes from a direct customer referral, the ideal response time drops to under 5 minutes.
That is insane. 5 minutes.
The mechanics of this are ruthless. I mean, if you let a morning lead sit in your CRM until your team gets back to the office in the evening to make phone calls, your win rate absolutely plummets.
Well, here's where it gets really interesting. Think about this through the lens of emergency room triage, right?
Yeah.
If a patient comes in actively bleeding, which, in home ownership terms, is water breaching the drywall, the hospital doesn't hand them a glossy brochure and tell them the attending physician will call them back tomorrow between 9 and 5.
Now, they'd be sued.
Right. They stop the bleeding immediately. You have to build systems to treat inbound residential leads with that exact same level of triage urgency.
You really do.
You need automated SMS routing that gets a text message to the homeowner's phone in 30 seconds, acknowledging their emergency, while the dispatcher is literally still dialing their number.
And that systematic speed is the foundation of trust. And trust, according to the data we have here, completely overrides price.
Really? Price isn't the main thing.
Nope. The report highlights a Service Titan survey showing that when consumers choose a contractor, offering the lowest price isn't even in the top 3 competitive advantages.
That is wild.
Right. 59% of consumers stated the number one differentiator was reputation. 47% prioritized transparent communication, and 43% said exceptional customer service was the deciding factor.
Wow. That completely reframes the sales conversation. You aren't racing to the bottom on price. You are racing to the top on perceived reliability.
Exactly. And perceived reliability is driven by the referral flywheel. The data shows 90% of homeowners actively read reviews before they ever initiate that first phone call.
90%.
Yeah, so when a contractor builds a system that reliably captures those positive reviews, it feeds a flywheel where referrals eventually make up about 36% of all inbound leads.
And this brings us right back to the brutal economics of marketing spend we mentioned at the start.
Ah, yes. The $228.
Exactly. That local EQ data showing an average cost per lead of $228.15 for roofing and gutters on Google search ads, it just forces a change in strategy.
It has to, because if you're paying $228 for a single click and your response time is 3 hours instead of 30 minutes, you are literally setting cash on fire.
Just burning it. Your marketing budget is basically just funding your competitors who call the lead faster.
Which is why the report heavily advocates for shifting strategy away from raw search clicks. The far smarter play is dominating your Google business profile, maximizing your local SEO, and relying on Google local services ads.
Oh, LSA. Right. Because with local services ads, the platform actually charges you per valid connected lead.
Exactly. Rather than just charging you for a random web click from someone who might have just been searching for a DIY roof repair video.
Right, right. So you don't buy the expensive digital traffic until you've built the operational destination to actually capture it.
Precisely. So residential provides this high-speed, highly lucrative engine, but it's still entirely dictated by unpredictable weather events and emotional triggers.
And you can't really build a predictable business on that.
No, a mature business cannot build a reliable cash flow forecast or secure favorable lending terms on the mere hope of a hailstorm next month.
Yeah, the bank doesn't care about your hailstorm hopes.
They really don't. So to survive the dry spells and build actual enterprise value, contractors are forced to build a second engine. This is why the strategy shifts toward the commercial playbook.
Which means we have to look at how you actually package the pitch to secure that commercial revenue.
Right. The report looks at major commercial competitors in the space companies like Tecta America and Centamark, and their operational model is completely different.
How so?
Well, they don't sit around waiting for a 50,000 square foot warehouse roof to cave in. They secure revenue by offering preventative maintenance contracts, guaranteed 247 emergency service response, and really detailed digital asset tracking.
So they shift from being a transactional one-off vendor to becoming a strategic partner.
Exactly. And the mechanism for making that shift relies heavily on how pricing is presented.
Because handing a terrified homeowner and a corporate warehouse manager the exact same invoice format completely ignores the psychology of the purchase.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is how the pricing format itself dictates the buyer's comfort level and their likelihood to actually sign.
Right.
The report breaks it down into specific packaging models based on the context of the job. So if a residential buyer just needs a simple repair, you use a flat, fixed price model with very clear exclusions.
Because the psychology there is reducing friction, right?
Yeah.
They just want the leak stopped quickly without doing complex math.
Exactly. But if you are proposing a full residential replacement, the mechanics change. The report advises using a good, better, best pricing model.
That shifts the psychological burden entirely. Giving a homeowner options, a good, a better, and a best package, it turns a simple yes or no decision into an A versus B decision.
Yes, it reframes the whole thing.
Instead of taking your single price and shopping it around to 3 other local roofers to see who is cheaper, the homeowner spends their mental energy comparing your better package against your best package.
Which is exactly what you want.
It gives them a sense of control over the budget. And the report notes this usually results in lifting the average order value while protecting the profit margins.
And then when you move to the commercial buyer, the packaging changes again. You offer an annual maintenance plan that includes scheduled spring and fall inspections. This provides the corporate buyer with preventative budget predictability. I mean, they know exactly what they're spending to maintain the asset.
And for the contractor.
For the contractor, it generates a stream of predictable, recurring revenue that smooths out the severe seasonality of the industry. It massively raises the lifetime value of that commercial account.
And we definitely have to talk about how financing mechanics alter this packaging, especially on the residential side. I mean, hitting a family with a massive $15,000 lump sum estimate creates immediate sticker shock and stalls the deal.
Oh, absolutely.
But presenting a monthly financing payment right next to the cash price reframes the entire financial calculation. The internal narrative shifts from, can I afford to drain my entire savings account today, to, can I afford $250 a month to permanently protect my home?
It dramatically lowers the barrier to entry.
It really does.
You match the pricing package to the specific psychological need of the context. A repair buyer demands speed. A replacement buyer requires understandable options and financial flexibility.
And a commercial buyer needs a long-term strategic partner to manage a depreciating asset.
You never use one pricing format for every job.
Right. So we have the systems to capture the leads in under 30 minutes. We have the psychological packaging to close the different types of deals. But what happens when you actually win the work and the contracts start piling up on the desk?
This is where things get really tough.
Yeah. This brings us to the invisible ceiling detailed in the report. We have to talk about the severe operational constraints that can absolutely bankrupt a contractor if they are ignored.
Yeah, this is where the strategy moves from theory to physical reality. The report highlights a devastating labor crisis in the trades right now.
It's bad everywhere.
It is. The industry needs 349,000 net new workers by 2026 just to keep pace with the retiring workforce and the growing demand.
349,000.
Yeah. 90% of contractors report already facing severe labor shortages. You cannot rapidly scale a service business if you physically do not have the specialized crews to execute the contracts.
And the bottleneck isn't just finding bodies to put on a roof. It's the complex web of rules governing how those bodies are actually allowed to work.
Exactly. The physical and regulatory constraints act as massive operational hurdles. You have strict safety regulations like OSHA fall protection rules that require specific equipment and training the moment a worker is just 6 feet off the ground.
Wow, just 6 feet.
Yep. Then you have complex licensing requirements that vary wildly across different state and county lines. If a home was built before 1978, the EPA's RRP rules regarding lead paint kick in, which means your crews have to spend time-consuming, expensive hours on containment and disposal protocols.
And from a cash flow perspective, you also have consumer protection laws like the FTC's 3-day cooling off rule for in-home sales. That rule legally delays your ability to lock in the funds and start the project immediately.
Right, you can't just grab the money and run.
Well, wait, let me push back on this. Because my natural business instinct is screaming right now.
Go for it.
If my marketing is finally working, the leads are flowing in, and my sales team is closing deals left and right, my first impulse is absolutely going to be to grab the cash, take the deposits, lock the customers into contracts today, and just figure out the labor and scheduling headaches later.
Right. Isn't turning away a $15,000 roof replacement simply because my production calendar is full, doesn't that feel like absolute business malpractice?
I get it, I really do. But the data strongly suggests that following that instinct will actively destroy your company.
Destroy it.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, taking on jobs you cannot predictably fulfill shatters your operational margins and annihilates your reputation.
Because it immediately breaks the referral flywheel we talked about earlier.
Precisely. If you aggressively lock in a contract, tell a family you'll start the replacement on Tuesday, but your crews are stretched so thin that nobody shows up until Friday.
Yeah.
That homeowner is going to leave a scathing review.
And they have every right to. They do, and that one review acts as poison. It stops future organic leads from calling. Furthermore, the report notes that high-performing contractors maintain gross margins above 30%, which leaves them with net margins between 8 and 12%.
Okay.
If your production schedule is chaotic, your crews end up sitting idle on job sites, waiting for materials, or you're forced to pay massive overtime rates just to catch up on delayed projects. Those inefficiencies eat your 30% gross margin alive.
So the margins just vanish.
Exactly. Capacity constraints are real physical barriers. They are not just minor back-office scheduling details.
So the overarching golden rule from the source material is this: gate all marketing to operational capacity. You do not spend $228 on a Google search click to acquire a new customer if your production crews are already booked solid for the next 3 weeks.
Exactly. And to accurately gate that marketing, the business requires a unified tech stack.
Right, the software side.
Yeah, the report emphasizes that stitched together fragmented CRMs are dying out because they cause margin erosion. For example, if your estimating team builds a quote in Roof and then has to manually retype all those material quantities into Job Nimbus for the production team.
Oh, human error waiting to happen.
Right. A single typo like dropping a 0 on a shingle order means your crew is sitting idle for 3 hours waiting for a supply runner.
That's agonizing.
You need unified platforms, you need software like Job Nimbus, Acculinks, or Service Titan managing the core operations. You need Roof for precise estimating, Company Cam for instant field photo documentation, and Nice Job for automated review management.
Everything has to talk to each other.
The data must flow seamlessly from the moment the lead enters the system, through the automated proposal, the scheduling, the invoicing, all the way to the automated review request at the end of the job.
Because if you drop the data anywhere in that chain, you have just wasted all the marketing dollars and triage effort it took to get the customer in the first place.
Exactly.
Okay, we have covered a massive amount of strategic ground today. Let's bring this all home for you. If you want to implement this dual motion system, the report outlines the top 5 strategic moves for your next year. Number 1, fix your lead response time. Build the automated systems to get it under 30 minutes guaranteed.
Yep.
Number 2, systematize your review capture. You should be asking for a public review on over 90% of your completed jobs. Number 3, tighten up your Google business profile and local SEO so you aren't reliant on $200 clicks.
Stop burning the cash.
Exactly. Number 4, install strict channel attribution in your CRM so you know exactly which marketing channels are generating profitable jobs, not just noisy leads. And number 5, Launch a commercial maintenance offer to smooth out your revenue cycles. Plan to spend 5 to 10% of your total revenue on marketing, but focus on funding the trust engine first.
Yeah, the most effective go-to-market strategy in the roofing industry combines a trust engine, which means showing up faster and more credibly than anyone else, with a relentless operations engine.
The operations engine being the capacity side.
Right. The goal is making every single job easy to review, easy to refer to a neighbor, and easy to renew for annual maintenance. Growth isn't about generating more noise. It's about building a closed-loop system that predictably captures and seamlessly fulfills demand.
So what does this all mean for the future of the industry? I want to leave you with a final thought to ponder, based on the collision of facts we've explored in these sources today. We know that intense, unpredictable weather disasters are driving up to 90% of insured property losses.
Massive driver.
And simultaneously, we're staring down the barrel of an impending labor shortage of nearly 350,000 skilled workers. When you put those two immense pressures together, the contractors who dominate the next decade might not be the ones who sell the highest volume of roofs.
No, there probably won't be.
Instead, the ultimate winners will likely be the companies who successfully shift their entire client base from reactive, labor-intensive emergency replacements over to highly efficient, predictive resilience and maintenance upgrades. They'll be the ones doing significantly more revenue with less raw labor, capturing a massive lifetime value from every single customer they acquire.
It requires a profound shift in identity. The business must evolve from being a transactional emergency responder into a long-term, trusted asset manager.
And that is how you actually grow a local service business. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Take these mechanics, apply them to your own operational flow, and ask yourself, are you just forcing expensive leads through broken pipes? Or are you actually building an engine capable of handling the pressure? We'll catch you next time.
If you got value from this, share it with someone building something real. And if you want to stay sharp on go-to-market, follow Neon Primer GTM. We'll be back with more.